Max has been ejected.
Dude, this is sweat and rosin.
They don't need him. They kicked him to the curb.
Give the MLB an inch, and they'll ask for a mile.
Wow, look at that. Live updates here on Baseball 360.
Let's raise that Jolly Roger out there. Yar!
Baseball 360 friends, welcome back to another episode. We got a nice little weekend special here for you. We have some plans this weekend that kind of altered our recording schedule, so we're going to give you this special weekend episode.
Yeah, I mean, a little surprising on both of our ends. I didn't think we were going to be able to record an episode this week, but as fate turned out, you can't bring us down. You can't let us not record an episode. So we're here for you. We're going to give you the lowdown on what happened this week so far and prep a little bit into what next week brings for us here.
Yeah, you know, it's very rare that a flat tire can be a blessing for you. We were able to have our plans altered by a flat tire, this time in a positive way. And because of a flat tire, you now have a weekend special episode with us. It's always great when you could see our face.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, hopefully everything works out on your ends with your flat tire. But as for our fans, we got a lot to talk about. And let's buckle in. Let's get this show on the road, as they say. A little pun there for you.
I like the puns. Let's go to first base, guys. Let's dig this out of the box. The Oakland Athletics moving to Vegas? I believe so. They went over there, scouted some land, and I believe purchased some property. Am I right, Fazio?
Yes, they did. They actually went out there. They kind of scoped the land. I mean, there's a lot of Vegas land out there, desert, if you will. It's not obviously in the bad parts of the desert. It's near the Vegas Strip, so that's great news. But it's actually supposed to cost around $1.5 billion, with about $500 million of that being publicly funded up to the municipalities involved. So there's still some politics that need to be ironed out. They still need to really kind of consider exactly when they're going to, have the team play there. Right now, it's looking like they're going to have the inaugural season in 2027. But after the 2024 season, supposedly they're not going to be in Oakland anymore. So there's a couple of years there where they may have to play at the AAA affiliate in Las Vegas. I believe it's the Aviators, if I'm not mistaken. And they may have to, kind of borrow their ballpark and share it together in the 2025 and 2026 seasons while they're kind of building this new stadium. But exciting news for the people out in Vegas. I mean, they got they obviously got the Oakland Raiders. Now the Las Vegas Raiders are playing there. The Las Vegas Knights are doing excellent in hockey. They made the Stanley Cup a couple of years ago. And, it just seems like right now it's the place to be for sports teams.
No, this is exciting news if you're an A's fan. However, were given a deadline imposed to them by Major League Baseball that they have to get this stadium deal finalized by, I believe, January 2024. So, the pressure is on to get this done. But the way things have been shaken out in Oakland for the Athletics, fans are completely disinterested. They sold off all their good players. The fans were thinking about doing a reverse boycott. Save your money, guys. It's not going to work. They want out of Oakland. This historic baseball franchise, you're watching it crumble in front of your very eyes. It's kind of sad to watch. When I was watching them play the Mets over the weekend, it looked like I was taken to a time capsule watching them play in that stadium. It looked like the 1970s in there. It's time for a change.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for Oakland fans, I'm sure that's going to be news and obviously like things that you don't want to hear as a fan. You want your team to be in the city in which you're representing, of course. And, I can kind of sympathize with those fans now pretty much losing all major league teams. Had a really rough go there. Front office did not seem like they wanted to really make a huge concentrated effort with the local authorities to build a new stadium. I know they had plans to do that, and they tried as much as they could to work a deal with them. And the local officials were just like, we can't do this. We don't have the money. We can't operate this. I don't think this is going to work out. And so as far as Las Vegas people and fans go, this is a great opportunity. I think, the fans, from what I'm understanding, it's not really an issue with local authorities to put up the money. I think they want a team there. And I know the stadium out in Oakland is really run down, as you said, Mike. And so, it'd be interesting to kind of see like the sketches and how the stadium kind of looks and what the team colors are going to be, if they're going to change that and kind of give a new feel to it. But, ultimately at the end, I think this is the right move for the team. It just sucks for the people out in Oakland losing yet another franchise.
It's really going to be fun to finally see it come to fruition. I know for the longest time, not just baseball, but professional sports in general, they were kind of shying away from Vegas. I think all that went away when they started advertising things like DraftKings and FanDuel. They were like, okay, this is a little hypocritical. Let's expand.
Yeah, I mean, why not? The opportunity is there. The money is out there in Vegas, obviously with all the casinos and the hotels. I'm sure they'll make things really nice, look really good. Then now you got 3 major league teams. You got the Golden Knights, the Raiders, and now the A's. So, I mean, for Vegas, you got to be pumped for this. And I'm sure those sports books are going to be bopping too.
I can't wait to go there with you. We're going to have to knock that off our stadium tour, that's for sure, as well as the Coliseum in Oakland.
Definitely. Would love to get out to the Coliseum next year for sure. I think that should be a goal for us for this channel. Do like a final goodbye, like a little tour of the stadium to see what's left of there. And once 2027 rolls around and this channel's still existing, we'll be out there in Vegas for the inaugural season and definitely get some sights and sounds of that stadium, and definitely, watch a ball game. So exciting stuff there. And let's see what the future holds for us there.
Why don't we take it over to second base, shall we?
Let's go.
All right, heading over to second base. Let's go out west. Mets, Dodgers. Mets took 2 out of 3 out in L.A. Love to see it. I think they took advantage of a Dodgers team that is just not the Dodgers they used to be. They seemed like a shell of their former selves out there. Anywho, the third game of the series, we saw something a little wonky. Max Scherzer, off to a rough start this April. Just keeps getting more and more aggravating for him. He was ejected for a little sticky substance on his hand, which, Fazio, if I'm not mistaken, that's like the rosin and sweat.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And I mean, you could kind of see it on Max Scherzer when he was talking to umpire Phil Cuzzi, yelling at him, being like, dude, this is sweat and rosin. Like, there's nothing else. And Phil Cuzzi actually has ejected a couple of pitchers in the past for, I believe, the same exact thing. And so for Scherzer, I mean, you know how intense he gets on the mound. He was fired up. And I believe they checked him the inning prior as well, being like, hey, what's on your glove? And he's like, nothing. Take a look. I got nothing. And then he goes back out there, and then he gets ejected. So a lot of frustration on his end for sure. To be honest with you, the Mets are killing it right now. They're 6-1 this road trip thus far. They have a few games going up against the Giants this weekend that obviously we're recording on Friday. We don't know the results just yet. But I mean, in terms of the team, they're doing pretty well. They're keeping pace with the Braves. They're only a game and a half behind them as of right now. And, the Braves are just going to keep dominating, as we'll discuss next after this. But, Mike, I'm just kind of curious about on your end, like, do you think with the pitch clock is the reason maybe why Scherzer's not himself?
Yeah, I think he's feeling the pressure. He was kind of called out for being, quote unquote, not in baseball shape. But yeah, Max, we know how he is. He's a feisty competitor, and anything that kind of gets in his way will irritate him. Like you were saying in that game, the inning before he got looked at, and he had to switch his glove. He switched to a new glove, and I actually was watching the game, but I had to leave, and then all of a sudden I get a call from my dad saying that Max has been ejected. And I was like, for what? And it was for the sticky substance. It's very frustrating. You thought he was going to appeal, but they turned out to just let it go. So Max is going to serve the 10-game suspension. I think the Max Scherzer could use kind of a start off. Justin Verlander should be coming back next week, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere around that time. The Mets have not been a perfect baseball team by any stretch of the imagination, but they're getting wonderful offensive contributions from guys like Brandon Nimmo, Pete Alonso, and Francisco Lindor. As they go, the offense goes, and I watch them on a nightly basis. You guys know that. They're frustrating at times, but at the end of the day, if they are getting the winning results, I can't really complain too much.
No, and I want to take it on the other side too with the Dodgers before we move on here. As of this recording, they actually just wrapped against the Cubs. They lost 12-0 to them. They're now a game under 500 at 10-11, game and a half back of the Diamondbacks, who, we've sung their praises before on this podcast for sure. But as far as that series goes with them, outside of Kershaw getting his 200th win, we kind of predicted that this team was going to be struggling, and we're seeing it so far. Now, the Padres are also struggling. They're also at 10-11 as of this recording. And now with the Diamondbacks being where they are, it'll be interesting to follow them. And I know last show we said we're going to keep an eye on them, and so far, so good with them.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks seem to be almost a year ahead of their development. Just wonderful. You could tell the team is in a really good place because they were able to DFA Madison Bumgarner. Yes, that Madison Bumgarner. They don't need him. They kicked him to the curb. They're getting contributions from Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly. They're killing it.
Yeah, and I mean, who knows who will pick up Madison Bumgarner? I know the Yankees are hurting for starting rotation. I wouldn't be surprised if a team that's in contention takes a shot with Bumgarner. Maybe he just needs a change of scenery, and if he goes out somewhere else, he could thrive. It's not like we haven't seen it from past players before, but I mean, just seeing his performances on the Diamondbacks, it just looks like he just doesn't have it.
It'd be funny if the Dodgers go out and get him so him and Max Muncy could kind of make up and become friends.
I wouldn't surprise me at this point. I think the Dodgers are looking anywhere to get something going for their team.
Foz, I want to stay with this NL West. San Diego Padres lost 2 out of 3 earlier this week to the Atlanta Braves. Braves seem to be cruising. They just got Max Fried back. He had a strong start, 5 strong innings from him. Padres just got Tatis back last night. Hopefully he can add a spark, get this offense going. However, the presence of Fernando Tatis, I don't know if that'll make up for Juan Soto's sub-200 average. I don't know what's going on with that man. But if he starts hitting... Xander Bogaerts, by the way, is on fire. He's worth every penny so far. This weekend, they got the series with the Diamondbacks. It's kind of a test to see who the Diamondbacks are, but also who the Padres are as well. Now is their chance to try to take advantage of this division, try to fatten up while the Dodgers aren't playing to the best of their ability.
Definitely. And with Juan Soto, I still believe the pitch clock has got him all screwed up. I think it's showing perfectly on display whenever he's at bat. I think he just got to mentally get out of that space and just figure out a way that he can just get comfortable there. And if he doesn't, you're going to see the sub-200 average linger around, unfortunately. But going with the team itself, I mean, they only scored 2 runs against the Braves, and they won the game Wednesday 1-0. And so they have to figure out a little bit more on offense. And, going back to the game last night against the Diamondbacks, they were able to score 7 runs against them and win that game 7-5. So I just think offensively, like you said, with Xander Bogaerts showing up, Manny Machado, not really seeing too much from him. He's doing okay, for what he's worth, but I think he could step up a bit, get a little bit going on offense. He was your pick to MVP, so I'm not really seeing some MVP numbers from him. It'd be nice for him to pick it up a little bit. We'll look to see if they do that against the Diamondbacks and kind of keep pace with them.
Yeah, right on there, Fazio. Let's head over to Houston, huh? Astros taking 2 out of 3 against the Toronto Blue Jays. Big series for both these teams, huh?
Definitely. I mean, the Blue Jays are trying to keep pace with the Rays. They unfortunately were caught up with the Astros kind of getting hot all of a sudden. Astros put up a bunch of runs. They won 9-2 Monday. They lost 4-2 on Tuesday, but came right back 8-1 Wednesday. Luis Garcia pitched one of his best games as a starter in his career. Went 7 innings, got 9 Ks, only gave up 2 hits. And I think we're seeing right now the Astros, they're second behind the Rangers in the standings, but I think they're going to start turning around a bit. They got off to a little bit of a slow start. We kind of teased that as well with Jose Altuve, being injured and not coming back until at least mid-May. So we'll see now if this is the spark they needed to beat a really good team in the Blue Jays and keep on going and seeing how they can go, for the next couple of weeks. It seems like they're starting to get their legs under them and starting to produce.
Yeah, we did mention how the Texas Rangers are going to have to take advantage of the Houston Astros early in the year, try to create some space to the best of their ability. All the Astros need to do is get hot, and the rest of that division screwed. You've yet to see the Mariners show any life. They're at 8-11 right now. They're starting a 3-game set this weekend with the St. Louis Cardinals, two teams that need to get back on track. But yeah, going back to the Astros real quick, just between Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker, and Alex Bregman, Jeremy Pena, I mean, I can go on and on. Once they start clicking, and if just one of those guys get hot for a month, they can carry that entire team. Luis Garcia, that wonderful outing the other night, that pitching 1 through 5, incredible. You have yet to see Lance McCullers start a game. So they got the depth. And then once Altuve comes back, it's icing on the cake. The Texas Rangers, if they want to have any shot at winning the division, because now I think they're in contention. They're in contention for a wild card, but if they want to win this division, they got to fatten up early because the Astros are coming.
And also, they have to have Jacob deGrom healthy. He came out of the game his last start, few innings. He had an injury to, I believe it was his side, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
No, so he left with soreness in his wrist. He was leaving on precautionary measures. Now, we've heard precautionary measures for the longest time with Jacob deGrom. It starts as precautionary, and then it starts as see you in spring training next year.
Yeah, so I think it was his side prior to this injury, and now it was his wrist, this new injury that came up. And yeah, I mean, I guess you're holding your breath if you're a Rangers fan to hear his status. But I mean, you know, everyone keeps tagging us, hey man, this bullpen is good. It's like, yeah, we know. A few weeks ago, you know, once opening day kicked off, they weren't really the strongest bullpen coming out of the season. And now they have one of the strongest bullpens. So, you know, we're well aware of how great this bullpen is. Let's see if they can keep up with their pace, like I said in the last show, and really just, you know, turn things over and make sure that they can secure these wins, because having those two guys close out games, and Jose Leclerc and Will Smith, will really help them, I think, mentally get through each game.
And, you know, despite Jacob deGrom, they're getting wonderful contributions from the rest of their rotation. Martin Perez, Nathan Eovaldi going out there dealing. They got John Gray going tonight. He's been fantastic. Andrew Heaney bounced back after that rough first start. Listen, the Rangers are doing everything we knew they could do. And, hey, maybe Bruce Bochy's kind of rubbing off a little bit. Yankees have just been quietly doing their thing. Garrett Cole, Cy Young, he definitely. He was we kind of forgot about him a little bit, but on opening day he went out there and he showed that this year he's coming for you. They're getting wonderful contributions out of Anthony Volpe, playing great defense, stealing some bags. Judge doing Aaron Judge things. Unfortunately, Giancarlo Stanton's going to miss some time, but I'm sure Yankee fans, you've kind of knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so hard on this team being a fan, because I'm just like, they lost Giancarlo. Like, this team doesn't really have like a great kind of rhythm going right now. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They won the last 2 games against the Angels, of course, to salvage the series. But I mean, looking overall in the picture, right now they'd face the Baltimore Orioles in the playoffs. They're 12-7. They're only 4 games back of the Rays. They're on top of the wild card by a game. So, I mean, I still think they have a wonderful team. And I think, to your point, Garrett Cole is the anchor of the rotation. I think they do need a little bit more help. Hopefully Rodon comes back. I think he had a little bit of a setback, so we're not exactly sure when he's going to be back, but hopefully they get him back relatively soon, because I think they do need his presence to kind of solidify a little bit more of their consistency and to have a little more rhythm. So, and with Volpe, he's got a great glove. He's great on defense. Would like to see a little bit more on offense. I think it's coming slowly, and I think he'll develop into a great 5-tool player. But as of right now, you know, I'd like to see a little more offense come out with him. But taking 2 out of 3 against the Angels, we know the Angels story. They're not a playoff team, unfortunately. They got 2 megastars. They can't figure it out. It's really unfortunate, but you know, that's how it goes in Artie Moreno's world.
Well, before we head to third base, we got to talk Pirates. Pittsburgh Pirates. We all know I'm probably the biggest closet Pittsburgh Pirates fan. Oh, crap. Shouldn't have said that out loud. No, they're off to a 13-7 start, which is their best 20-game start since 2002. Not even their playoff teams had a start that well. Fazio, we didn't touch up on the Pirates much in any of our baseball discussions. We were always favoring teams like the Diamondbacks to surprise you, but I did not touch up on the Pittsburgh Pirates. We all knew the Cubs were going to make a little noise, but we did not talk Pirates.
At least not in our predictions, but I mean, ever since that episode, they've kind of been lingering around on each of our episodes. I mean, I mentioned the whole marble race on Reddit where they were in the World Series. I mean, it's kind of freaky that this team was kind of left for dead, really, to start the season. And now, like you said, having the best 20-game stretch since 2002. Very surprising stat given that they made the playoffs in the mid-2010s, with Kutch being the anchor. And speaking of Kutch, this man looks like comeback player of the year to me. I mean, to be honest with you, man, I think they got a good shot at making a wild card. And, as of this recording, they're only a game and a half back of the Brewers, which, again, this division itself is just kind of crazy. You were just mentioning before about the Cubs. Drew Smyly almost had a perfect game, and something wacky happened. Tell me more.
Wow, look at that. Live updates here on Baseball 360. So a dribbler was hit up the third base line, fieldable for both the catcher and the pitcher. Drew Smyly and Yan Gomes attacked this ball. Drew Smyly went to go pick it up. Yan Gomes also went to pick it up, and I believe they collided, therefore ruining the perfect game. This happened in the 8th inning. I think it's probably the worst way a perfect game has ever been broken up.
Outside of the Galarragas missed call in 2010 with the Tigers, that was probably the worst perfect game breakup. That should have been the perfect game, and Jim Joyce was very, very apologetic after that game. He even cried on field the next day, and I feel bad for Andres Galarraga, but I think in his book, that was a perfect game. I think that's how everyone should look at it. But going back to this one, David Peralta, he hit that ball. It was like kind of a dribbler up the third baseline. Tough to say that Smyly would have thrown him out. It would have been a close play. But once he kind of collided with Gomes and, they kind of just fell on the field, you can kind of see Drew Smyly being like, that's my bad. Like, don't worry about it. Like, I think he kind of knew, like, it's one of those freaky plays that unavoidable. Like, he was going for it and he knew, like, that wasn't going to happen. So, hell of a start for him, though. And the Cubs are keeping pace with both these teams in the Central, not the Cardinals. So, this is a pretty crazy division. And I love kind of just updating each week on this division because this is exciting.
We're going to head from second on over to third. Enough talking about the National League Central. We got more rule changes coming, guys. Yeah, that's right. They see how we respond to this pitch clock. We tell them, oh, we really like it. It's wonderful. And now they're going to go and try to make more and more rules that don't make much sense. Fazio, tell me what you're seeing. You read something the other day.
Give the MLB an inch, and they'll ask for a mile. And that's in a lot of different areas. But going to the Atlantic League here. So it's looking like on opening day, which is on April 28th, the ALPB, the Atlantic League Professional Baseball, will feature a new designated pinch runner rule, a pitcher limit of a single disengagement per at-bat, and the return of the double hook DH rule. So let's just break this down real quick. So the designated pinch runner rule will allow a player who's not in the starting lineup to be used at any point of the game as a substitute base runner. The player who is subbed out, as well as the pinch runner, would still be able to return to the game. The double hook designated hitter rule allows teams to use the DH throughout the game as long as the starting pitcher throws at least 5 innings. So that's an interesting little caveat there. If that doesn't occur, the team loses its DH and the pitcher spot would bat for the remainder of the game. This was used last year in this Atlantic League, so they're kind of re-upping it again this year. But it's very interesting that they have this specific rule, and I don't know if I like that specifically for Major League Baseball. Mike, I'd love to get your take on this one specifically.
I think it just comes down to Major League Baseball getting a little too aggressive with these rules. That designated pinch runner thing is going to keep Terrence Gore employed for a little while. I don't hate the designated runner rule, but I do know that if they implement that, if they implement that, they'll just keep implementing more rules. I was hoping they would get rid of the extra inning rule, and that looks like that's here to stay. I hope they don't get too crazy with these rules. That's all I'm going to say. I don't hate the pitch clock. I think it's working out, but us liking it might have been the worst thing.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. I mean, I think testing it in this Atlantic League, it's not even in like the regular single, double, or triple A affiliates at all yet. So I think at least for that, like this is more of like an experimental league that you can kind of do these things to test out to see, hey, we can maybe like try this in the minors. Let's not try this. Let's just keep this here. So I think having this league kind of test this out, I think it's okay in my book. And I think with Major League Baseball, they're aware that like they employed a lot of different rules this year. I think they may want to cool the jets a little bit for a few years before they think about putting in another rule. So I think for at least a couple of years, I think we'll be okay with the current rule system and what we have going on in Major League Baseball without new rules coming in, unless it's like a super, super minor thing and maybe it's a tweak to a new rule, such as the pitch clock, where they may get an additional like couple of seconds in between pitches or something like that to tweak. So I don't think we have to worry about this too much. I think it's interesting they're testing it out in other leagues, but like I said, I think it's just something as an experiment, keeping it from there.
10 years from now, you and I will be doing this podcast talking about not only robot umpires, but robot players as well.
Bring on the umpire robots. I'm all for that, personally. I would love to see that.
I'm good.
I only at home plate. Give me the human umpires in the field. At home plate, I liked the robot idea. Maybe if you have like an umpire up in the press box to kind of track this robot umpire to make sure like the calls are being made correctly, that can make the game go a little bit faster. But with that said, yeah, I like the robot umpires. I'm a personal fan of that.
That's not a bad compromise. I'll give you that.
Thank you. I thought about this for a while, for sure.
Fans out there, we all enjoy a nice off day. Sometimes we like to go for a nice little stroll, little walk in the park. Well, so does Yusei Kikuchi.
Yeah, it was funny seeing the pictures because, like, you don't really see a Major League Baseball player, really go out too often to a public place. And he was out in Central Park on his off day on Thursday, but it looked like he was just getting some stretches in. He was warming up his arm. He's starting tonight against the Yankees. So I guess, the Yankees were playing the Angels in the afternoon, so he didn't have much time to be there and do his routine and stuff. So he figured, hey, why not go out to Central Park and do my little routine? And it was cool kind of seeing that. It kind of reminded me of like players in like the 60s or 70s just kind of like doing whatever they wanted to do and not getting bombarded by fans. And, that's not to say that Yusei Kikuchi is a household name and would get bothered, but I think it's cool kind of seeing this kind of like off the field kind of stuff. Him, being one amongst the rest in Central Park doing his thing. I think it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really cool to see. He was wearing his Blue Jays gear too, by the way. So if any casual baseball fan was even there, they could have spotted that. Hey, man of the people, Yusei Kikuchi. Now, what would be really funny if he goes out there tonight and absolutely sticks it to the Yankees. I think that would be really, really funny.
I'll have to like insert like a little clip from that game if he does do a great job of just like, Yusei Kikuchi, 6 innings, no earned against the Yankees, something like that.
3 hours later.
Kikuchi silenced an offense that put up a 5 spot in the first inning of the Yankees' win over the Angels Thursday.
So I'll throw that in there in case he does do well, but hopefully he doesn't.
Finally, before we head home, I want to talk to you guys about morning baseball. Doesn't everybody love a baseball game that starts 11 a.m. on a Monday? I know Fazio does, being a fantasy baseball league commissioner and all.
It was rough, man. So yeah, as you may or may not know, the Red Sox Patriots Day, they have the Boston Marathon that day. They like to start early. They like to start at 11 a.m. They wrapped up their 4-game series against the Angels that day. Shohei Ohtani pitched a hell of a game, as per usual. And for me, personally, I actually got caught up with the day in my day-to-day with work and stuff, my other work. I wasn't really paying attention. And so by the time my alarm went off, I realized, oh shoot, I got to lock lineups. And to give everyone an idea out there, we actually have a weekly baseball fantasy lineup, but we have daily changes. So if someone gets injured before Friday's games, we could substitute those players offensively. However, the reason why we're doing it like this is because we don't want to stack starting pitchers. So for you fantasy outlets out there, I would love a format where we have weekly starting pitching and relief pitching lineups and daily offensive lineups for these kind of situations. So I'm praying Yahoo, please do this in the next year. Would love to see that happen. But until that happens, yes, I have to go in there and manually lock lineups each week in order to fulfill these duties. And Patriots Day caught me completely off guard. Forgot to set my own lineup, which is bad job on me, but I was in time to set the commissioner lineup rules. So I guess good job there for me on the other token. Threw me for a loop. I'm sure it threw a lot of fantasy managers out there for a loop. And yeah, I mean, with this kind of rules that we have set in place, once they lock, that's it unless they get injured. So if anyone wants to hear more about the intricacies of our lineup or the proposal for me to have weekly pitching lineups and daily offensive lineups, please feel free to comment below. Let us know your thoughts on that because I'd love to hear some other people's opinions on this.
All right, heading home now with the top 3 matchups coming up this week, starting with the Astros and Rays. They got a big series going Monday through Wednesday. The Astros are starting to get it clicking. The Rays still off to a great start. This is going to be a hell of a matchup for both teams, a test, I believe. More of a test for the Rays than I think the Astros. Going to be fun to watch.
Definitely. The Rays currently right now are actually 10-0 at home. They do face the White Sox this weekend, so we'll see if they'll be able to keep that streak going. And hey, we said that a couple episodes ago. I don't know if they're going to be able to. I'm not going to say that anymore. That they're very possible to go 13-0 against the White Sox and face the Astros there. So they'll be exciting to watch. They're obviously the best team in the league right now. And the Astros, like we said previously, they're 9-10. They got a series coming up against the Atlanta Braves. That'll be really exciting to watch in Atlanta. So it'll be fun to see what happens there. And they're 3.5 back currently against the Rangers. So, you know, the Braves, we'll see. Their starting rotation's really solid. Their whole team is clicking. We'll see if they keep them at bay there.
Moving on to our other matchup, Dodgers and Pirates. Yeah, we're not going to put these Pirates to bed just yet. Once again, another test for them. See if they could keep these wins rolling. Hopefully they could take another series here in April. Keep the winning momentum going.
Let's raise that Jolly Roger out there. Yar! Going to be great in Pittsburgh. I mean, hopefully those fans show up because I think this is going to be a big series. Dodgers aren't really the greatest team right now. We've touched on this in this episode. Pirates are hot. I mean, they're a hot team, man. And you know, I really hope the fans go out and support them. They deserve it. These fans deserve every win that they got. They're facing the Cincinnati Reds this weekend, who are 7-12. Maybe they sweep them. And then they got the Dodgers coming in. That's a huge series for them, especially in April. So I'm loving some Pirate baseball right now. Let's see the series be a good one for them for sure.
Yeah. Who cares? If the Pirates are good, they're good, man. I don't mind as a Met fan. I don't feel threatened by the Pirates. Now, if they go out there and they beat us, it'll be a different story. I'll be singing a different tune. On to our next series, man. We got the Yankees and Twins in Minnesota. Twins are off to a hell of a start this season. Pablo Lopez pitching his ass off. Got a brand new contract extension. How do you feel about this series for the Yanks?
The Twins were kind of threatening them a bit. Carlos Correa just seems to be the thorn on their side each game. Just seems to dominate them. And now being in Minnesota, the weather I'm sure will be out there a little bit better than in previous weeks in Minnesota. But for the Yankees, I mean, they're hanging in. Both these teams are kind of hanging in there. So I expect a different series coming out for the Twins, maybe perhaps taking a couple of games. And I'll say, having a little home field advantage, I'm going to say that the Twins take 2 out of 3 against the Yankees, and that'll be their first series loss. So I'm not really a confident Yankee fan. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm saying all this, but they got to prove me wrong. And I think that's going to be the theme for this year for the Yankees for me is prove me wrong.
You're a very honest and humble Yankee fan. That's why I respect you.
I mean, someone out there has got to be like that, right?
You're a good egg, Fazio. You're a good egg. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
Yeah, so, I mean, I want to just touch up on our giveaway, and, we're still hitting our stride a little bit. We got to get to 50 subscribers first, and thank you for those that have subscribed to our channel so far. We love it. We love seeing the comments roll in and love seeing the engagement on different applications. Like I know Instagram, we're getting notifications every day. Facebook, we're getting a bunch of likes from our reels. So I'm going to have to tap into that audience a little more, try to get some of that audience liking us to get onto our YouTube and check us out. But as far as our giveaway is concerned, we don't really have a winner to announce. We reached out to 2 parties. We have yet to hear back from each one. Would love to, if you guys are watching, hit us up because we want to give these tickets away. It's only right, only fair that I said we want to be able to give these out. Please reach out to us and we'll make it happen. So yeah, tickets are out there. We still have that 100 subscriber giveaway to give out as well. So if those that are still wanting to get tickets, your opportunity is there. It's there for the taking. So we'll hit you up as soon as we do get 100 subscribers, but we need to see engagement. We want to see you guys comment, like, subscribe, follow us on all different social media, and hit us up. Like, we're here to entertain you. So we want to do that for you guys. And, Mike, as we round out here, what are some things we could do potentially to tap into more of our audience?
Well, first I want to say for those of you who have already subscribed, make sure you hit that notification bell as well. These episodes are going out, especially this one, going to be a bit of a surprise. So you want to make sure you know when this episode's going out. Listen, on our videos, comment things you want to see. Just even if it's just random, just comment it, jot it down. We don't care. Any wild ideas, baseball, keep it in the baseball realm, but we're open for anything. We should be back to our regularly scheduled programming, so tune in the following Monday for the next episode. We just want to say thanks again for watching.